I went through absolute hell to get to a point where I paid my bills. I had nights, bro, where I did not eat. I was eating sleep. I had some days where, bro, I was eating just a McDouble. And now that I saw what I was capable of when I didn't have no choice, now that I have a choice, I always do what I'm capable of. So from now on, it's always like I'll do 50, 60 hours a week. And it's not because I feel like I have to. I'll do 50, 60 hours a week because I never want to, lose that pain. I never want to lose that adversity that I had back then.
Turning nothing to something, back like the map with instructions. No, we not doing dysfunction. Talented black, no, we be on our functions. Ain't no need for introduction. You, my friend, take a seat and discuss it.
YouTube, Discussion with the Friend podcast. This is season 2. We're finally on YouTube. We're super excited. I'm Jay Cash. That's Jay Allen, and that's Rod. So we got some cool stuff happening this season. We ready to just jump right into it. But first off, before we do that, I just want to ask y'all how y'all doing. So how you doing, Jay?
Man, I'm good, man. I just got back from the field. For y'all that don't know, I'm in the Army, just in the Guard. 11 Bravo, we represent. I was in the fields, cold, man. So I'm glad to be back in the house, back in this warm, air, man, out there shooting negative. No, it wasn't negative, I'm capping, but it was close. It was close. It felt like it was negative, but we good, man. Other than that, we can't complain. God is good.
Yes, sir. Rod, how you doing, man?
Hey, man, I'm blessed and highly favored. I can't complain too much. Glad that I was able to see 2022. Glad I was able to see this new year, and ready to start this season 2 off with a bang, man. Let's get it. We out here. We on YouTube. We added our boy Jay Allen. So let's get it, guys.
Yeah. So if you guys are either new or you're not new, so one thing that you might not know if you aren't new is that we have a new host. Clearly, so Jay Allen is on from now on. He's a permanent host. He's not in and out. You guys might have seen him on a couple episodes before, but he's here to stay. We're excited to have him, and we just think that he is just a great asset in any of the videos we had before, and we feel like he fits kind of the way, not necessarily the way we think, because he doesn't think necessarily the same way that I think or the same way that Rodney think, which is why he's here, but he just flows well with all of us, so we're excited. Anyways, let's hop right into the topic, fellas. So a couple of things that I was thinking about over our, vacation or our little break that we had. Um, I was just curious, what do you guys consider to be the greatest assets in life? Just give me 2 or 3.
Okay. I'll go first. So I think one of the greatest assets in life would obviously be adversity. So some could couple that with pain, suffering. Something that I actually heard listening to a podcast this week was, and I don't agree with the podcast. I'm not even going to go into like what podcast it is because this is our podcast. But they said that bullies are necessary. Like bullying is needed. Now, I'm not going to necessarily agree with the entire idea of bullying as a whole, but I do agree with the fact that as a man or a woman growing up when you're young, you need that kind of adversity in your life because that's going to be what's going to shape you to be whoever you are to become. So I'll say that adversity is one of the biggest assets. I think that's a necessary thing for change. And then I would also say support. So whatever your support system looks like, I think that everyone has one in some regard, whether that's family, whether that's your faith, whether that's friends, whether that's, like colleagues, people at work. It doesn't even necessarily have to be people, but some kind of support. If you lean to an activity or a certain thing that you do as support, I think you need that in your life, kind of to keep you on the right track and keep you grounded. So, I mean, some might think of that as structure, but I feel like really support because when you are going through that kind of adversity, that's when you're gonna look to that kind of support to get you through that kind of situation.
Okay. All right. So I just wanted to let you finish before I went back on something else you said. So about that podcast with the bullying, what do you actually think? Do you think that bullying is necessary?
Okay, so I mean, it's hard because I don't I think somebody had asked me this before, but I don't even remember me getting bullied. Like, but bullying comes in
Because he
different
was baking
forms.
people back in the day. That's why.
I mean,
He
and that's
learned
what I
the
was gonna
ability.
say. And a lot of people was like, "You were the bully," but I'm like, I wasn't no bully. I don't know, because bullying it comes in different forms. Like,
Yeah.
everybody, you looking on TV, you seeing the traditional bullying. That's like somebody shoving a kid in a locker or something like that, or like putting a head in a, like, toilet. I'm not putting my hands on people like that, me personally, unless you give me a reason to do that. But I
Well,
will
there's
cook you. I
verbally
will. I
bullying
will
as
bake you.
well. That's physically.
Right. But I can't really recall a time where I could say, like, man, I was getting bullied. Like, I'm coming to school, I'm dreading this. Like, I just can't. Like, but I know there's people that can. So
Yeah.
they probably looking at me crazy. Like, what you mean bullying is necessary? But if you think of the kind of person you were back then, and you think of the kind of person you are now, you have to, for the most part, admit that some changes were made. Now, I don't know if that was necessarily positive or negative, but I will say that it's going to force you to make some kind of change. Most people.
No, I totally agree. So I feel like bullying is necessary, but not necessary because it's bullying. I think from the perspective of it being necessary because it induces pain. And that's my two assets are pain and adversity. So just to kind of like jump into that real quick before, because I still want you to talk about
Right.
your support and structure stuff. But I feel like if if you're getting bullied physically or verbally, that's some type of pain that you have inside of you. That's somebody is really forcing something on you. They forcing however they think you look. Like if they calling you ugly, if they beating you because they think you're weak, things like that. Will either in time, if you think you're weak or you think you're ugly or scrawny or whatever, I mean, it a lot of people grow up and go to the gym and go crazy in the gym because of everything that people said in the
Yep.
past. So I feel like bullying does help. Now, I'm not saying it's the right thing. We
Right.
could be saying this because we probably were bullies when we were younger. So that we could be talking from that perspective. But I mean, I know I do best when somebody tell me I can't do something or somebody tell me that
Facts.
I'm not capable or anything like that. And that's how I consider a bully. So if you tell me I can't do this, I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna remember that you told me that, and that's gonna be my motivation. And my other motivation is proving myself right. But I'll let you get back into that, bro. I just wanted to get that off.
Right. I hear you. And something to say, because you said, when somebody tells you you can't do something, that's going to push you to do it. And, bullying, I feel like it's going to make you make a change. Now, when you come against adversity, you're going to have to make a change. It's almost like it's promoting problem solving, because obviously there's something going on to where you don't like that being done to you. So now you have a choice. Am I going to put up with this, or am I going to do something about it? Which goes into my topic, which I'm going to save until later. Um so yeah, I think it's necessary to an extent. But that would have to be something, maybe like you're saying, I'm speaking as a person that really didn't experience the traditional bullying or whatever, like
Yeah,
people would say. So maybe I don't know, what I'm talking about. But going to the support thing, I think that that's something that's, um, you have to identify what that looks like in your life, because there's a lot of people that will say, oh, I never had a support system, or I never had, nobody was there for me. But that might not have been a person. That might have been something that you were doing. That might have been an environment. That might have been a place. You got to understand and identify what that is in your life, and then cultivate that. So, I think of that, especially because for me, it is relationships, my relationships to people. I'm doing my best to really try to cultivate those relationships and make sure that I nurture them to, where it's not a give and take situation. I want it to be something where it's mutual, it's a equal situation. So if somebody else is going through something, I want to be present. I want to be available for them to be their support system, and vice versa. Because we've talked about this before. You get overwhelmed when you're the one that's, doing the constant giving.
everything.
You're doing everything. So, that's draining. That gets draining. But I think that we need to, be instrumental in cultivating those kind of relationships. That's going to make them last longer. That's going to make them work better for you when you need them. So I think those are the two biggest assets that's most important.
Okay, Jay, what you got for us? So you want to jump in on Rod's?
So I'm gonna get some perspective on both of what you guys have to say. First, I'll be straight up front and blunt with it. I think bullying is totally healthy.
Of course, he do.
Of
Look at this
course,
big
in
muscle
a,
head
a
dude.
certain context. I know you guys, you guys are like, nah, duh, like, cause you know me. But like, the thing is like, bullying, like Rod said, is gonna come in different forms. It's always gonna be some type of bullying through life. That's just what it is. Like, I can tell you from like somebody like physically, I never had a problem with people. I never had a bully in my life. I don't know what that's like. And for people to have to go through that, that from right here is tough. I believe them. I don't think they're making it up. But on the flip side, I grew up in a school district where I had a teacher who was actually a bully to
Yeah.
me. Like when I didn't do well on a test, like she let me extra know. Like she showed
Yeah,
everybody
I
the
know what you're
grade.
talking about.
Like was always calling me out, and she didn't know the effect it had on me, but it made me feel as if I couldn't do well in school. And I carried that for a little bit. I believed that for a small time in my life. And I had a flip side turning point, more so when I got into athletics, that, you know what? She was wrong about me. And the reason she was wrong is because I get to decide what I'm good at, what I'm not good at, based off of my level of work and the attention I bring to detail in my life. So I made some changes there. But overall, like, man, pain, adversity, I'm feeling that, with that being something that's going to sharpen you up as a person. And from my perspective, I guess what I have to contribute to this conversation is saying that, like, with bullying, I feel like people are trying to make life so comfortable, which is a good thing. And life is
I
comfortable
love that.
today. Today, you can go to the store and buy fresh produce. You don't have to go kill a cow or go pick corn or, nothing like that. Things aren't as hectic and hard and crazy. And now people are becoming very, very soft and entitled to things that are comforting in life. And I think so comforting that they let some things that 20 years ago wouldn't have been a big deal crush them and ruin their lives today. And it's important to know the concept, to know, hey, if we face some adversity, whether it's a person, a teacher, a test, some sport, getting into a school, we're going to learn what we got to do. We're going to learn how to push through it, because these things aren't going to go away. People aren't going to stop trying to get over on
Ever.
you. People aren't going to
Facts.
stop trying to treat you a certain way or put you in a certain lane, no matter how big you get or what level of success you have, so it's something you got to get used to, and we can't get too soft just because life getting comfortable.
Hey man, I love that. That's facts.
That's my perspective.
That's
I
absolute
love
facts.
two things that you said, because that story that I had completely lapsed my mind about the teacher, because I had a teacher like that and I was really young. I was in
Mhm.
first grade, because I remember, and I actually ended up going to Naperville for like half the year because of this teacher, because my mom wasn't agreeing with it. So basically, I used to fall out of the chair and stuff. Like I was a class clown in first grade. Like I was one of them kids. I'm trying to make people laugh, stuff or whatever. Now, so she put me on a performance behavior thing. So like literally, if I do good, like I get rewards. Like they'll give me like 15 minutes of computer time at lunch or something like that. Like, but I was on a behavior thing. So anything I do, she had like little, like I remember, if I'm like disrupting the class, she'll like do this with her ear or something. Like, so like they had me on like a little plan. And
Boy, you was a pest like
that
that.
and that's what I'm saying. My mom was mad about that. So I remember one day she sat me down and she was like, hey, she was like, look, this is what they expect from you. Like, this is what they expect from a young, black kid. They don't want you to be successful. They don't want you to pay attention. That's why they putting you on like a little plan. But she was like, you're more than that. Like, you can like reach your potential. Like, this isn't who you are or whatever. And from that day on, I ain't never fall out of no chair. I ain't never, now I talk or whatever. I still talk even in high
Yeah.
school, but I'm getting my work done. I learned the significance, the importance of getting that stuff done. And I really feel like that teacher was a bully in the sense, because yes, you had me on the plan, but you didn't try to talk to me and explain to me why I shouldn't be doing these things, or why this is an issue, or how can you better do this, versus I'm gonna just put him on a plan and I'm gonna give him rewards, thinking that that's gonna be something that's gonna make him do better. But I'm only doing that for the reward. I'm not doing that because I actually understand why I need to pay attention or why I need to not fall out of
Yeah.
my chair or not or I need to, take notes or whatever it might be. So I'm glad you brought that up because like we saying, bullying can come in many different forms. And then my other thing I wanted to say was um you're talking about almost lost my train of thought. I'm gonna just have to give it to you, Jay Cash, because I just lost my train of thought. So
All right. Well,
Hey, it happens. It
so
happens.
for me, what like the biggest assets I've already said, I think it's pain and adversity, and I think we all can agree on adversity. Like I think that's just absolutely needed. If you have a life that you don't go through nothing, it's gonna be a time, bro, where you gonna need something. Like you gonna need something that happened to you back in the day where you like, oh, I know how to handle this, or oh, I know I can handle this. But if you're somebody that's never been through none, how do you I don't even know how you even get through life and live. Like if you're
right,
somebody that's rich and got everything you want, I mean, that's probably why a lot of celebrities, kids and rich people, they struggle in life because they ain't never really had to go through nothing. But anyway, to get back into like specifically what I want to talk about. So for me, it's pain. And
okay,
I would say pain just because I saw nights and days where we didn't have lights for a couple of days. I saw nights and days where we didn't have water for a couple of days. Now, mind you, this was years and years and years ago when I was like a young little kid, like 6, 7, 8, when my mom was a single mom and all of that. But I saw those times and I remember those times. I remember my mom making sure that we eat and she possibly didn't have nothing to eat. So things like that I can really pull into, and that's what drives me, that's what gets me going. And I guess that's kind of adversity, but to me that's more pain because I know my mom had to really go through a lot to make sure that we was okay. And to really target it towards just me, I remember fresh out of high school, bro, 18 years old. We graduated in May, as you know, because we went to the same high school, bro.
yep,
We graduated in May. I'm telling you, bro, like a week after graduation, me and two other dudes got a apartment, like an hour away from where he had graduated. I don't want to say their names because I don't feel like it's necessary. But anyway, one of them, he moved out after like 2 months. Mind you, bro, we're fresh out of high school, 18 years old. None of us are understanding the way bills work, rent works, anything like that. We got a $1,400 a month apartment. Thinking that's okay, because it was okay if all of us was there to pay for it. But now one person leaves, it's like, all right, it's starting to get a little spooky. We're gonna have to figure this out. So now, and this is why we in college, by the way. Like, so one person, two of us was in college, the other person wasn't, and the one that wasn't, he left. So me and the other dude, we figured it out. You know what I'm saying? We were working like 40 hours a week just to make sure we got by. Also was a full-time student, so it was a little rough. But then something that happened where we had both lost our jobs for like 3 weeks or so. Instead of toughing it out, trying to figure it out and, continue to grow and continue to move and just accept stuff for what it is, the other dude left. So now I had the apartment all by myself. One dude, again, full time student, 18
out
years
of high
old,
school.
out of high school. How am I supposed to figure out how to pay $1,400? So for me, yeah, the first thing I did was ask my mom. My mom did help me, but there's only so much your mom can do for you because she has her own rent, she has her own bills, she has her own problems. Also, as a man, if you are like, I don't want to say as a man because I'm not saying that you shouldn't get help, but as a man, sometimes you shouldn't want help. And that's how it was for me. Like I was big on I'm gonna have to just figure this out. So I went from working 40 hours a week to 50, 60 hours a week, bro. I'm still doing full-time classes. I'm sleeping probably 4 or 5 hours a day. And it's sporadically. It's like spread out. It's not all at once. Because I was working overnight. I was working immediately after school. I was working before school. Whatever I had to do to make sure my bills was paid. And the only reason that I knew that I can handle that is because I had to go through it. You know what I'm saying? Like that was some type of pain that was significantly different. And to push things in the future, like 2 years after that, probably 3 years or so. Me and Jay got an apartment together. Me, Jay, Braden, and Richie, all good dudes. We had to pay our rent separately. So at this point in time, I think what was our rent, like $900 each?
Something like that.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
at this
it's like nine, maybe 1,000,
at
something like
this
that.
point in time, I don't necessarily have to work 40, 50, 60 hours a week. I don't have to do that anymore. Like I put myself in a position where I was okay and I could pay bills, but I was still doing that.
Right.
So I feel like that's a great asset is pain and adversity. I went through damn freaking hell.
Bleep.
We're gonna get better on that. We try not to do profanity, but I feel like I'm just passionate about this, so I feel like it had to be said. I went through absolute hell to get to a point where I paid my bills. I had nights, bro, where I did not eat. I was eating sleep. I had some days where, bro, I was eating just a McDouble. And now that I saw what I was capable of when I didn't have no choice, now that I have a choice, I always do what I'm capable of. So from now on, it's always like I'll do 50, 60 hours a week. And it's not because I feel like I have to. I'll do 50, 60 hours a week because I never want to, lose that pain. I never want to lose that adversity that I had back then. It's super big for me. People always like, especially now, with like the type of money I make and the type of things I do, people always say, yo, why are you still working these amount of hours, blah, blah, blah. Because at any given time, bro, you can lose everything you worked hard for. And I don't want it to be a point where I got so comfortable where 30, 40 hours a week is what I'm used to and I'm not capable of doing nothing else. But now that I know that I can do 50, 60 hours a week, I'm going to continue to do that. I'm going to continue to grow. I'm going to continue to hold myself to that standard because if I get back there, it's not going to be unfamiliar to me. It's going to be something I'm used to. That's why I think pain and adversity, hands down, is the best two assets that you can have.
I just want to briefly break down what you're saying because I think the overarching thing, the asset is pain and adversity. But I think two very important assets that came out of that you learned was sacrifice and adaptability. Because until you really have to make a sacrifice yourself, that's, you don't have a reason to step outside of your comfort zone, as Jay is saying. Because now we're in that kind of age where people aren't making sacrifices. You know, a lot of people don't have to. You're
Yeah.
looking at some people that have families that are well off. They have a certain amount of wealth. Um, so they might not have to work a job. I'm just speaking from experience. I worked in high school, and I was on the football team, and I remember, I'm not gonna put no names out or nothing, but I remember I had a job and I had missed summer workouts, and I remember he texted me. The coach texted me. He said, "Where were you at today?" And I said, "Oh, I told you I had to work." And he said, "Oh," he said, "So
I
you're
remember.
prioritizing work over the football team. You're slowly moving down the depth chart." And I had to explain to him, like, I have to work, bro. Like, I have, I'm not saying that I had it the worst, but my mom was making sacrifices for sure. So, I had to do what I had to do to make it easier for her and to be able to propel myself as I get older. Cause I know I'm getting older. And even if she can support me right now, like you're saying, like, even if you're good right now, I'm gonna work to make sure that I'm good always, because I don't want it to be
That's
a
all you can
time
do.
where even if I'm good right now, I might not be good tomorrow. I might not be good in a month. So why not start now? Why not, like you're saying, do what you're capable of now? And so I think sacrifice is like one of the biggest things, and that's going to come, like you're saying, from pain, from adversity, from those kind of situations. And then adaptability. You got to, be like a chameleon. There's going to be things that come at you in life that you might not necessarily know how to deal with at the time, but you might not have a choice. So, you got to get with it, or get left. So I think those are like two like sub assets that would kind of go hand in hand with that. And something I was going to ask is, so what happens for the people that don't have to make a sacrifice? What happens for, like, what does that look like? What kind of person will you become if you are too comfortable or you don't have to make any sacrifice?
So, Jay, you want to answer that or do you want me to hop right in?
You know, yeah, I'm gonna give some perspective on that. So it's kind of unique. I think, like, so my belief, I'm not in this position, so I could be wrong, but my belief is that you got two different type of people. You can have one type of person, they may have to make a lot of sacrifices, and they might have a system in play via parents or just family or lifestyle where they're comfortable doing that. They don't see any consequences really from that. But for a lot of people and people watching this, for you guys that are watching this, you may know somebody like this, and this is the only example I can give. I'm not going to say any names, obviously, but I know a guy. He's never really had a time where he had like a heartbreak as a young man. And as a young man, we all went through it. It's as silly as it sounds, happened to me in second
Hey, that
grade.
happened to me
Like
in elementary. Yeah.
I was,
I'm
yeah,
talking
I
about
was
heartbreak,
I
like
was
a
dating a
relationship.
girl second grade.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. And I'm dating a girl, right, in second grade. And we're coloring and sending back like letters and stuff. And one day, hey,
I know this
true
is about to
story,
make me
true story,
laugh
dead
before you
ass.
even finish. That's why I started
So
off.
if my mom is watching this, she's laughing right now. She knows this story. And so I go to hand her my letter, and I'm waiting for my letter. I'm sitting there in second grade, so and I notice like another guy's opening a letter. That looks like
She ain't never
the
pass
letters
your
I
letter
get. Like
off.
so I go to dude and I tap him and I say, "Hey, can I see your letter?" And so I look at it and I'm like, "Yo, she definitely made this letter, and it wasn't for me." Like, so like, I talked to her about it, and she's like, she wrote me a letter back. She's like, "I don't want to write you letters anymore."
Ouch.
And like, bro, you're in second grade. You like,
Ouchie.
like my chest hurt, bro. I don't want to go out to recess. My boys, well, let's go hoop. I'm not hooping nothing. Like, so I feel like it was so healthy though, because I got the experience that one, like you have to learn how to be self-efficient on your own happiness. Like I got to the point where I actually got into drawing after that, as lame as it sounds. I was like, I can draw my own letters. What the fuck? And then I got into drawing, like, and got good at it. But long story short, you might have a guy who never been through that. Like the gentleman I know is a prime example, and he was 24 and went through that. And being in second grade and being 24, at 24 that can be detrimental because he was fresh out of college. He's fresh into his career. I think he was like a year and a half in, working to get a promotion, and the breakup literally broke his concentration at work. You could see it took something from him as a person because he never developed his own as a person. He found that with somebody else. And I think that could be very detrimental for somebody that relies on being too comforted and not facing that adversity. Where I watched his life go into spirals for a little bit until a good friend of mine, he ended up going to some counseling and stuff over it. And I mean, he's good now, he money now. But I was like, wow, man, the value in learning that lesson in second grade versus at 24 is huge. It's a huge milestone to carry, into those ages and know how to handle that. He know how to handle that.
I hear you. So
Yeah, it's
don't look good.
Yeah, it's just like
Yeah.
it's just like starving, bro. Like if you I'm not saying that we lived I don't know why we even have to say this, but still I'm gonna just say it because it seemed like, in this type of generation, everybody likes to compare, even if it's bad or good.
Yep.
So I'm gonna say, I'm not saying that we lived this struggle stricken life where we didn't have nothing.
Right.
I'm not saying that, but I'm sure we've all had days where we starved, where we just did not have no food, things like that. But there's people out there that never had this happen to them. They've never starved. They've never went without. So they don't really know how to connect when they do starve when they're 25 or 26. So it's the exact same thing as that heartbreak. I feel really bad for people that don't go through a lot of pain. Like if I can go back and redo any portions of my life, I would not. Like nothing at all, especially the most painful moments. I wouldn't because I've learned so much out of all the painful moments. I learned so much from adversity, things like that. There's a lot of people that be like, I would go back and change this so this didn't happen. I wouldn't, because I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't for that moment happening that exact same way because I took that exact step or anything like that. But to answer your question, Rodney, I think someone that does not have to go through adversity and pain, what that means for their life is literally nothing. It's going to be, I just don't think that you can actually like live a life without having to go through pain and adversity. You just if you never had anything go wrong in your life ever, and your parents have always provided for you, you've always had everything you need in life. How do you really relate to the rest of the majority of the world? Like that's why celebrities are like some of them are weirdos. Like they don't know how to, and I don't mean weirdos to be disrespectful, but like weirdos and the the definition of what society considers weirdos to be,
Hmm.
I would say that they are weirdos. Because let's be honest, if we talk to who's a good example? If you talk to Blue Ivy, bro, Jay Z and Beyonce daughter, she's probably weird, bro. She probably can't talk to us
Yeah.
about much. She can't really connect to us about much. She can't relate to us about much. Not only because she's young, because of course because I know people will comment and say that,
Right.
but it's also because she's never went through nothing, and she never probably would have to go through anything. Like she is a billionaire already. Like what does she have to really worry about? She has
But
to worry about not eating
that's true.
a buffet for the day, or like
That's true, but somebody's response is going to be that they have a different set of issues. They have a different set of adversity.
everybody
The
got
only
issues. So
thing
I agree
is,
there.
I wouldn't know what that looks like because I don't have that money. Jay-Z and Beyonce are not my mom and dad. But I know that that's going to be something that somebody would say. And as we climb the ladder of success and opportunity and whatnot, we're going to be faced with different issues that okay, but I feel like we'll be more equipped, which is basically what you're probably trying to get at. We'll be more equipped when we get to that certain level based off of our past experience with sacrifice, with pain, suffering, adversity versus somebody that if you were born into that kind of life, you might not have the skills. You might not be equipped with those kind of skills to handle that. So that's what you're saying. And then something that I just want to bring up because, like, you hear people say, like, oh, I don't want to be rich or whatever. I want to be comfortable. Well, my thing is, I don't think you'll ever be comfortable. I don't think if you're working and you're doing the max capability of what you can do and everything, you'll never be comfortable because I feel like if you're comfortable you're settling in a sense. So
Yeah.
at this point I became comfortable with being uncomfortable because that's pretty much what life is. You're going to have ups and downs, ebbs and flows, and you're probably going to have more downs than you are going to have ups. So you need to really understand how to navigate through those times. So I don't really see myself because people be like, well, what do you want and what do you see yourself doing in life, or what's your dream, this dream that. I mean, my dream is to be able to work and do what I need to do to get to certain steps and certain like goals that I set for myself, but it don't stop there. It can't. So
Yeah. So I actually so what I do when I reflect, just to kind of deep dive in that a little bit, like when you said like what is your dreams and stuff like that, I actually ask myself that. And this is a conversation that I have with Vincent. Like, I think it's important I know we kind of getting off topic a little bit, but I think it's important to know what you really want in life, and you have to ask yourself, because I don't think majority of people, and I could be wrong, but I don't think majority of people literally sit down and ask themselves, yo, what do you want in life? What does that look like to you if you got the highest amount that you wanted in life? What does it look like if you went lower than what you imagined? And what does it look like if you just stayed where you at? These are conversations that I really have with myself, and it kind of drives me to continue on with life and things like that. I know this has nothing to do with the greatest asset,
right.
but I feel like this is an asset as well, because it's just preparation, number one, and self-discipline. So I'm sitting down with myself constantly asking myself, bro, what do you want? Blah, blah, blah. This, because a lot of people say, if you ask them what they want in life, they'll say some bull crap, bro, that it's not even really true. Like, I want to be a singer when I grow up. I want to have a business, blah, 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 blah. I want to do this, I want to do that. But those are just
Or
general.
a
Yeah, I want
millionaire.
to be a millionaire. I want to be a billionaire. I want to be social media influencer. A lot of those are just so general, but you've never even deep dove into what that actually means for you,
Right.
what that looks like for you, or any of that. And a lot of people, they'll say they want something in life, but they won't even go after it because they don't feel like they deserve it. But half the point of you not knowing that you deserve it or feel like you deserve it is you've never even sat down with yourself and saw what that would actually look like for you if you actually tried to do everything possible to go after it and go get it. So I just want to talk about that. I just think that's crazy that you even brought that up because I feel that.
I like it because I feel like it goes 360, right? Like to me, you have I think it is right on line with assets because you have to know what you want to know what you're gonna receive. One is manifestation, like you can call it a million different things, but two, I don't think you know who you want in your life until you know what you want. Like to me, it's just crazy that people expect things. They expect like a good boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, husband, square circle, whatever you do. Um, or like even like friends, family, this and that. And it's like, if you don't know what you want, how do you know what you want in your life
That's a
at
fact.
all? People, friends, places, like material things, spiritual things. And it's like, I think that's the answer. And that's the responsibility that falls on you. So then you can know what's the key asset to your life and progressing. Like I think about that every single day. I reassess to see if what I wanted yesterday, I still want it. Does that
Yeah.
still apply? It's
Right.
every day, new day, you know? So yeah, I think that's
Yeah,
money.
I hear you.
Will Smith,
It's right
something
up
to
there.
remember for our fans, family, whatever you guys would like to be called, friends. Will Smith said, self discipline is self love. So that's just something simple that you can remember every day when you
100%.
wake up. Just you got to be real disciplined. You got to be real. You got to you got to really break down what you want every single day because, like Jay said, it will change
Yeah.
every single day. Like as the day progresses and as certain things happen to you, things are going to shift and things are going to change. And that is why this is another topic that we can have on another podcast. But that is why when someone says that this person is acting different or this person has changed, I think that's really, really weird. Because I mean, that's literally how life works. Life is
Forever
changing right in
changing.
front
Yeah.
of you. Yeah, forever changing. So when you judging somebody's for something they did 2 weeks ago, what if that person corrected what he did 2 weeks ago and he's acting like this now because this is the new him? This is who he wants to be. This is who he's becoming. And I think it's just real strange, bro, when people hit you with the you change, you're different, blah, 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 blah. Another quote that boy Jay-Z said, everybody look at you strange and say you changed. Like you worked that hard to stay the same. That's one of the realest hip hop lyrics ever, bro. Because that's really how it is in life. Like you're gonna constantly change and you're constantly attempting to grow and progress in life. So if anybody ever tell you, I know this is random, it's like a little rant out of the left side. If anybody is ever telling you you can't do something, you don't deserve it, or you're changing, you're somebody different, who cares? Just do what you gotta do and continue to grow and
And I will say that if somebody's saying that to you, saying that you changed, then honestly, that's pretty disrespectful and that's pretty oblivious because you're talking to me as if you know the new me. You only know an older version of me. So you can't compare the person you see in front of you to what I used to be. So I don't understand how you could say that I changed when I'm not the same person that I used. Like it's obvious, but that's because they're holding you to a standard of how you used to be, how I used to see you or whatever. And that's fine, time passes and you might not see somebody for some years or whatever. Like, okay, you might think I changed, but you know, unless you're really like taking the time to like interact with me and see how I've been or whatever, then that's going to be the natural reaction. But something I would say to when you guys were talking about what people want in life and like you said they might say I want to be a singer, a millionaire, whatever. The only question I have to those people are you prepared for what that comes with? And I think a lot of people don't even think about that like you saying I want to be a millionaire. What kind of taxes you think a millionaire got to pay? Like, are you serious?
And probably
Like,
on
what do
some
you
work
think they have
ethic.
to do to achieve that million? And when you get to that million, how are you going to keep that million? Like, that's a lot of things that
Facts.
I think people don't really flesh out those kind of ideas. So that's great that you brought up self reflection and kind of just thinking about that because you can't just people want the success, you want the end goal, but you're not seeing all the steps that go into getting that. And it's like, are you prepared for the adversity that comes with that? So it all ties in hand with this asset thing.
Yeah. And what I do want to say is I don't want to sit here and act like we don't think that famous people and people that are rich don't have problems and
Right.
don't have adversity, because clearly they do. But it's just the question was stated in the way it was stated, so we answered it in the best possible way that we could. And that's going to happen sometimes in our podcast episodes. It might not be the most proper answer that you're looking for, because I mean, there's no linear answer. Everything
No.
is all over the place. There's always exceptions to everything. So just keep that in mind in the comment sections. When you text us or whatever, we're answering the question the way the question is set up. We'll go on a little tangent anytime we want to, but we are very understanding. We are very understanding people. We understand that there's different sets of ways to do different sets of things and answer different sets of things. We get it. We know. But
Facts.
Facts. And a beautiful thing to that is like having this platform. It's a comment section, so the discussion is for y'all too. Like we may be
Absolutely.
talking, that may be like the invitation for it, but it's just an invitation. We want y'all feedback. We want to have the conversation with y'all because just as much I can learn from my brothers, I can learn from you guys too. So if you see me talking about something, and you feel like I'm speaking on something, maybe I could have further in depth thought about or a different perspective, look through a different lens. Type it up in that comment section. Let your boy know, because I'm gonna talk with you.
Yeah, I don't even care if
So,
you call us stupid or whatever.
Saying,
Do
say
what
what
you
you gotta
got to
say.
do, but if you call me stupid,
Nah, you call me stupid, and we up now.
if you call me stupid, just be prepared for the meanest, swiftest comeback, because I know I'm not no stupid young fella. So whatever you say, call me dumb. You can say pod trash. We appreciate all feedback, baby. Anything. I don't care. You can say Rod ugly, I'm ugly. Jay got a fat head. Anything you want to say, we go eat that up. My head big too, Jay. Don't feel like I was calling you out. You know what I'm saying? I know, bro. But anyways, I think it's time to hop into the next topic. So let's talk about so this one was geared towards what you discussed kind of in our podcast meeting. So what really like motivates you? It's kind of based off of this asset topic as well. It's kind of like a subtopic, but what motivates you in life, and what necessary steps and things do you take to do better or be better?
You hollering at Rod right now? Or you
Either
talking
one
to
of
me?
y'all. This is an open podcast, boy. Somebody talk.
Nah, facts. I guess the way it was phrased, the way my brain interpreted it, it was like so direct. Rod, you want to go in on that one?
Rephrase the question, man.
So basically what I'm saying is, what motivations do you have in life? Like what things make you more motivated to handle the daily occurrences of life, and what things do you have in place currently that motivate you and make things easier throughout the day?
I think the future. That's probably the most blanket way I could say it is the future. So when I think of just like me on a personal level, not even going into just like my self motivation and all that type of stuff, but I know that I'm more prone to work towards something or work towards a goal when it's like I have something to work towards, like it's in the future. Um, I don't know what it is about that, but it's just something about knowing like you have something to look forward to. So I kind of try now to apply that to just myself when you're talking about self discipline. So like if I want to go, I have a goal in mind that I want to do for myself, or I want to make sure that I can get to this certain level or get this amount of work done or whatever. I try to, you know, plan it ahead to give myself enough time to make sure that I can get that accomplished, because that's something that I know a lot of people don't do. They're kind of like short sighted on things. So you might have a goal or something in mind, but you're not giving yourself the ample amount of time to get ready for that or to really be motivated for that. Um, but when we talk about like what like motivation is and what that might look like, I think that goes to how you were raised and like your morals, values, nature versus nurture. So basically like your environment, support system. So like obviously for me that's my mom, my grandma, my auntie, my family, friends. But um obviously I would say, and I feel like all you guys would say, it starts with you. You're not
Yeah.
gonna, you know, it's your life. Like nothing is gonna change for you in the good. Definitely not in the good, but or maybe not in the worst if you don't make a change and you don't take accountability for your actions in making that happen. So like I think I talked about it on a previous pod, but control what you can control, which is, we're gonna segue that into the next topic, on how to like get that started, talking about like routines and, like getting a certain work ethic and drive. But all that stuff starts somewhere. It starts with you, and it starts by identifying your flaws, your weaknesses, what you need work on, and then what you are good at. Um, and basically cultivating those things and getting them to work for you. So, for example, if I know that I have a problem with time management, I'm always late, or I'm always, waking up, or I'm like behind the eight ball, or whatever it might be. Something maybe I should do, or that I am doing, is, setting a routine, setting a schedule, giving myself extra time to prepare to make sure that I am on time. So let's say I start work, I work from home, so it sound easy, y'all. I'm telling y'all, it sound easy. It sounds super sweet, and it is for a lot of reasons.
It's sweet.
It is for a lot of reasons, but man,
Hold on. I'm not gonna act like I don't want to laugh. The fact that you talking about being on
hey,
time.
no,
Oh,
listen,
God.
listen. I'm telling y'all.
Hey, I'm listening though. It must be real.
So
You
look,
bringing it up
because I can work between 7 and 7. I have to work 8 hours between 7 and 7. So what that means is I could start at 10 a.m. every day if I wanted to, but that's gonna make me have to work until 7 p.m. I don't want to work until 7 p.m. So I have to get up probably at like 7 or 8, so I can probably get off at like 4 or 5 or whatever. But it also depends on what I have for the day, because let's say like I'm trying to go get a haircut or something. I need to be off at 4. I need to be off at 4:30. That means I got to get up at that time. So it's not really like, maybe I should just set a certain time to wake up every day, but every day
Yes,
changes.
you should.
But something that I did to like make that better is I have a whiteboard, and I wrote it down, like what time I want to wake up and what time I want to do this, like a morning routine. That way, when I do get up, because I'm not even gonna lie, like last year, we're in the new year now. Last year, I'm just getting up like whenever I wake. It's before 10, of course, but I'm getting up whenever I wake up, and I just start work. But I don't have no routine, like, so I'm not thinking about breakfast. I gotta walk my dog, brush my teeth, take a shower, all this. Like, I don't. All that stuff comes when it may, because I'm at home. I could do that at any time in the day, really. So I think that's where people kind of like the misconception comes from, because it's like, oh, you work from home, it shouldn't be no issue. It's an issue because it's so much freedom that I could really do whatever I wanted during the day. But if I don't have that organized, then I'm gonna lack in certain areas. So for me, for somebody that wasn't really organized with that, as far as like a routine, I've made that routine for myself, and I just did it for the last week, and it's paid some dividends. Um, but yeah, so that goes with motivation though. Like, you have to identify that kind of like those kind of weaknesses and areas where you might need work, and do your best to build those areas up.
That's a fact. And to talk about like the whiteboard thing, as y'all can see, it's a whiteboard like right above my head. And I do the same thing. So I'm gonna make mine quick because I feel like Jay probably got something to talk about on this topic for sure. So I want him to be last. I know you got some good gems over there, boy. So for me, I get my motivation from, well, just like my ultimate motivation is clearly my family and things like that. But if you want to throw that out the window and put that on the side and just think about things that are more tangible, I guess, would be my schedule. I know that sounds crazy, but that's really my motivation. I want to make sure with my schedule and routine that it's consistently consistent. I'm big on that. So this whiteboard above me, there's a box that says pray, there's a box that says read, and there's a box that says reflect. I have to do those three every single day. And my whole day is set up for that at the end of the day, like to make sure that I read, to make sure I pray, to make sure that I reflect. Um, it's very set up based off of my motivation is very set up based off of my scheduling. So what motivates me for Tuesday, even though it's Monday, is knowing that I have to wake up at 4:30 a.m., knowing that I got to go to the gym, knowing that after the gym, I'm going to make something to eat, knowing that after make something to eat, I'm going to shower. After showering, I know that I have to work from 7:30 to 4:30. After 7:30 to 4:30, I have to either read, I have to either do this podcast stuff, I either have to do with the real estate business stuff, the clothing, that's all, but all of my stuff is set up. And that motivates me because I know it's bigger than me. When I wake up every morning, I know it's not just, oh, you got to get up, you scratch your behind, bro, you go to your desk and you do whatever you got to do. And I think you have to wake up, Rodney, earlier or set a specific time of when you're going to wake up and hold yourself accountable for that. Because I'm not saying you're not handling your business and you're not
No,
getting
bro.
things done, because we
Let me
know you
hear it.
clearly are. We know you clearly are. But I'm saying you're missing out on so much by not waking up at the same time because you're giving yourself too much freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is important sometimes. Like, if you're somebody that is free and you give yourself too much freedom, you're not about to handle your business the same way you would if you were structured. If you wrote this down, you said at this time you're doing this, at this time you're doing that, at this time you're doing this. And I know some people are like, well, I'm not a person that likes to follow routines. I like to be free in life, blah, 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 blah. Whatever, bro. You do you. I don't got nothing for you. If you one of those people that you think that your life should just be free, you shouldn't have no schedule, you shouldn't have no routine, you shouldn't do nothing. You do you. This podcast, this portion of the podcast, not for you. But the people that do think that they want more in life and they see more in life, I think it all starts with a schedule and definitely starts with waking up at the same time. Because I'll tell you, for example, it is the 9th of 2022. I had one day where I did not wake up at 4:30 a.m. That one day was the worst day I possibly could have had. I woke up at 7:02, bro. Works at 7:30. So you know I wasn't making no breakfast. That was just not gonna happen. So I got in the shower. After the shower, dang, it's already time for work. All right, I'm gonna hurry up and brush my teeth. I hurry up, brush my teeth. I sit down. I'm starving. I didn't work out. I didn't pray in the morning. It's so many things that are off, and now I have to push that to the future. And pushing that to the future means that it might not get
Might not
done.
get done.
Because I know that day I was supposed to go to the gym, did not go to the gym. I was supposed to read, did not read. And it's because everything was already off for me. So I was at the point where I felt like, okay, like if I didn't already eat, I didn't eat in the morning, I didn't go to the gym, I could skip over reading today. And those type of moments get open when you allow yourself to be free to even have that moment. But if I would have woke up right at 4:30, hopped right out of bed, got to doing everything I would have did, there's no way I'm about to skip out on breakfast, or there's no way I'm about to skip out on praying, because that's part of my schedule. So what motivates me is my schedule.
Hey, so everybody watching, take out your notepads. I definitely got some heat for this. I live this. This ain't just cap. Take out your notepads, take out your pen, your iPhone, whatever you got. Record it if you got to. I don't give a damn. Play it back.
I'm taking mine
But
out.
I like to call this part of the thought process in this podcast time economics. I use that term a lot in my day to day, and the reason I call it time economics is kind of obvious to some of you, but for some of you, I can dumb it down. Um, Basically, it's just like a dollar, like another day, another dollar. Just like the saying, if you're putting in work consistently, you are putting in another dollar to get towards that goal of saving up to a total amount or get to the goal that you want to be at, hence time economics, right? So I think about that first principle. That lets you know what you have to do to get to where you want to go. The second thing is motivation comes to a big play, like Jay was speaking on, because if you're not working consistently towards something and you're not being consistent and true to who you are when you do it, and what that means is Jay waking up at 4:30, hitting his workouts, praying. He knows that in the back of his mind, no matter what he's doing, no matter if he goes and he finishes all the work he was supposed to do at 4:30 at 7 o'clock at night in the day, he knows he didn't do it in the way that was true to him, in the way that was intended. If you don't think that plays with your motivation in life, you a fool. That plays with your motivation, your confidence, how you go along with things, how you execute the next day. And that has a snowball
Fendi.
effect a lot of times because it lets you think that you can let up. And ain't no let up in life, man. Ain't no let up. And not to say you gotta be all serious gun blazing, but you have to be true to yourself. So if being true to yourself is being a little more loose and relaxed, then consistently do that. Because I know people that are loose and relaxed in their day to day, and they have a lot of success. But they try to bootstrap and go hard, and they burn themselves out before they need a nap at 4:30. That's not you. That's not your lane. Be true to yourself. And vice versa. If you need a little more structure, like myself, I know I can get lost in the sauce if I had too much looseness and just be able to go do whatever I want and say, hey, I'll do that at this time tomorrow. Now I need to do it now, and I need to write it on my whiteboard. You guys can't see here, whole list of things I write out every single morning. We'll get into that later. That I do, and it helps me take a mental note of what I have to do another day, another dollar at a time to get to my goal. And when I go to sleep at the end of the night, I go to sleep as a confident man because I know I did what I'm supposed to do on time, 100%. And that's exactly what's going to happen tomorrow. And that's my attitude.
Hey,
So take notes on that. That's big, man. Don't let that fly over your head. I know it seems simple, but that'll change your whole life.
That and whiteboards. I just want to throw that out there since
hey,
we all just hit on
That, yeah, for
you
real.
should get a whiteboard. Whoever you are out there watching this, I don't care if you think you don't need it. Just get a whiteboard. I promise you, since you have a whiteboard in your house, you will find something to write on it. It might not be something motivation, but it's going to be something. And one thing's for sure, and there's a quote out there that once it gets measured, it gets managed. So once you write something down, you will start paying more attention to whatever you wrote down. So get a whiteboard.
Hey, something I will say that Jay, and he brought this up in the previous podcast, but basically what you guys are saying is whatever it is that you're striving towards, you're trying to get towards, you got to be that person now. You got to view yourself as that person now. Like when Jay was talking about if he's trying to get to a certain like level of physique or whatever it is, he already views himself as that person. So he don't have to like worry about, oh, I need to do like I'm already that person. Like I don't have to wonder what that's going to look like. I got the mindset that I'm already doing it. So everything I'm doing is going to benefit the kind of person that I want to be. So I really like that y'all brought all those things up. And, you know, like I said, I've been doing this for a week with the whiteboard and the schedule. I've been waking up and I've really gotten a lot of stuff done.
This episode is sponsored by Purify Me. Purify Me products are 100% natural. They have a collection of body butters and hair oils. If you're looking to have smoother and softer skin, healthier hair, or looking to fix damaged hair, please visit purifymeproducts.com. I just want to touch on something real quick, and I just want to hear what y'all put on y'all whiteboard because we probably all put different things. So for me on mine, once again, I have 3 reminders of the 3 most important things to me that I need to do every single day, which is pray, read, reflect. And then everything else on there is a bunch of quotes that I love. It's just, and I read these quotes every single day. It's some of them are motivational. Some of them are to basically incite anger in me. It's my set of motivation is a little bit different than other people. So you might not need to do stuff like that, but sometimes I remember what people said to me or something like that. And now I add that to my whiteboard and I will look at that every single day and I'll read that every single day and it'll push me to go the direction that I'm trying to go in. And then last but not least on my whiteboard is my goals for 2022, all the way from mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, from a relationship perspective, and then also from a financial perspective. What is on your list and your whiteboard, Jay?
So actually, I'll read you a couple of things off my whiteboard right now. Some of these stay daily. Some of them change up depending on the day. Prep food, that's a Sunday thing. And this is one of them I really like. Put up the mirror in the living room. I put it up today. As simple as that sounds, that's how detailed I get with the things I need to knock out. Because when you put off the little things, that's what kills your motivation. You know how like
That boy
much
speaking.
of a motivation killer it is if you walking past the mirror that you're supposed to put up since Monday and it's Friday, and now somebody asking you to go out and you trying to put the damn mirror up, be like, damn, I don't. Okay, I'm gonna go kick it with him. I always say no. Like, don't be that guy. Like, I'm never gonna be that guy. I'm already gonna have it done because the future me gonna be able to do what he's supposed to do because I did the work. So put your mirrors up. um, Develop thumbnail ideas. That's for this. Text my sister about her Christmas gift. She ain't pick them up yet. I already texted her. She still ain't came. Oh well. I gotta make a couple work calls, and then I always have a quote of the day. And the thing about my quote of the day, I always try to make the quote myself off of how I really feel I want to execute today and the energy I want to bring. I want to be authentic. I want to be real to who I am. So my quote today was, actually, this one's from my dad. Ironic me saying that. The only other things I write are things I learned from my dad, 'cause he's a great, smart man. First one on the block, last one to leave. Hustler mindset. And that's me in a nutshell. Like, I ain't the smartest guy, I ain't the tallest guy, whatever it might be with talent. I may not be that, but I promise you, I'm the first one on the block, I'm the last one to leave. Ain't nobody gonna outwork me. And when the results come, I bet I'm first. Everybody can talk, I bet I'm first.
Well, I like that. I like
That's
that
the
energy, bro.
mindset. The mindset.
I like that. Rob, what you got on your board, bro?
All right, so first off, I want to say a disclaimer. I'm new to this whiteboard game, but so I got the morning routine up there. So we getting up this for tomorrow too. We getting up at 7 a.m. Then I'm walking my dog, walk Jewel at 7:05. Breakfast at 7:15. Brush my teeth after breakfast. Cause look, I get people be brushing their teeth as soon as they wake up, but if I'm finna eat breakfast, I'm gonna have to brush my teeth again. So I just wait till after. And then shower. What is it?
No, I do the same thing. I said the exact same thing earlier. I said eat breakfast, then
No,
brush my
Cap,
teeth.
I ain't want to say that.
I don't brush my teeth.
If you get up in the morning, it don't make
Exactly.
sense. And I'm a
Right.
coffee drinker.
No, you good.
Pre-workout, all of that in the morning, bro. I'm not about to brush my teeth as soon as I wake up.
Right.
I'm just,
Come on now.
now,
So,
this probably gonna sound crazy to
it's-
a lot
hey,
of people when they listen to this.
it's gonna
They
sound
think,
however
bro,
it needs
what?
to sound. But
They know.
so I'm brushing my teeth at 7:25 and then start work. Now, either I'm probably gonna take a shower tonight, but I probably need to add shower in between one of those two. So need some revisions. And then I got a quote of the day too. Now I haven't wrote it yet, but I write them the night before. I just try to write. Honestly, I just write something random, but I'm not gonna put no BS on there. But I just try to write something that's like random from like a random person. I use like Brainy quote, and I try to help that shape my day.
Well, it's
And-
not random. It's whatever resonates with you at that time. I don't think it's random.
Right. And then I have things to do. So it says monitor email, potentially purchase PC. We talked about this.
Yep.
Read one chapter of any book. Drink half your body weight in water drink half your body weight in water in ounces. And then finish DWAF intro, which I did finish. That was that fire intro y'all heard. Turning nothing to something. Get in that map of instructions. Yeah, you already know.
Yeah.
So
link in the description for that. By the way.
yes, sir. And then create something. So I have song, idea, artwork, and video, and I have check boxes. I have check boxes by all these, honestly, because once I'm going down the list. I'm new to this, so but I put like an asterisk for that one because basically that's like if I can get to at least one of those things, then I'll feel successful. But I want to give myself a chance to get to multiple if I can. So it's my whiteboard.
All right, that's what's up. See, so like as y'all can see that everybody has different things on that whiteboard, but it's still important and it's still efficient for us all. So I think if you don't have a whiteboard, that you should invest in a whiteboard. If you don't have a whiteboard, you don't want to invest in a whiteboard, please invest in a journal, a notebook, something like that. I will shout out an Amazon product. It's called 365 Journal. And if you got one close, Rod, you can show it. But yes, that journal right there, it basically gives you enough space to really reflect on your day, but not too much space where you just go overboard. So you only have enough space to write down the most important things in that journal and the things that really matter. It really makes you kind of break down your day and see what's important and what's relevant, and you can write that down. So I suggest those two things. But anyways, let's get into the very last topic of the episode. And correct me if I'm wrong, Rodney, but this is called when do you know to fold them or hold them, correct?
Yeah, basically when to hold them, when to fold them. So
All right.
there's a song. It's by Kenny Rogers, The Gambler. You gotta know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know
This guy.
when to walk away.
All right, bro. Come on, man.
Know when to run. You better, hey,
You could
Hey,
have
what's
just
your
played
name?
the
Come on,
song.
hey, but hey, Hey, something
Hey, I
y'all
feel
didn't
it
know.
though. I
Kenny
feel
Rogers had me on the feature. Stop playing. But hey, but
it.
anyway, so basically what that
This dude,
means
man.
is so when to hold 'em and when to fold 'em is actually a poker term. So that basically means when should you drop out of your hand, fold, or when should you hold, meaning you have good cards. So I want to apply that to life. There's situations like we're talking about adversity. When do you know when is the correct time for you to go against the grain? Because a lot of times in life, you're going to have a situation you find yourself in where you might think you're right, somebody else might think you're right, or there's a rule that it might be a rule and you might not think that rule is right, or whatever you have, your interest is more important than the opposition. So when do you choose as a man or a woman to say, no, I know what I'm talking about, I'm going to go against this, or no, I don't think that's right, I'm going to go against this? I'll even be the first one to share. I had a time, and I remember, and this is real minuscule, just in perspective of like, because I've had plenty of times where I was like, I gotta choose. But this is like a significant time in high school. I remember I got so in our high school they had these like assemblies on half days. I think it was every semester, and basically you get in there because you get like a some kind of ticket or something for like being good. Now, what it usually was for like people that got in trouble a lot. Like they would get those because that's like kind of giving them incentive to like stay out of trouble. But you would like anybody could get them. So like you want to get them. A lot of people got them because when you get them, you get to go to a movie for the half day and you get to skip your classes. So I remember it was senior year. Now keep in mind, I got one of them tickets every semester because I was a good student, and I'm not gonna lie, like I used to mess around here and there and like do stuff, but I was on my grind with the grades. So I ended up getting a ticket, and I remember I had a foods class, and so she was talking, and she was like, "Yeah, we have this project due is on Friday," and that's when the assembly was. And I had foods first period. She was like, "Make sure you get the project done, whatever." And I was like, "Hey, like I'm not going to be able to get it done for the next day. I'm at the assembly." And she's like, "Oh, well, you're going to take a zero." And I'm like, "Well, what you mean I'm going to take a zero?" And she's like, "Because it's due tomorrow. Like you guys been new this or whatever." And I'm like, "No, whenever you get the assembly, whenever you get the ticket, that means you're exempt from them things." And she's like, "Well, it's a teacher discretion thing." And I was like, I'm a senior in high school. I've gotten like 5, 6 of these tickets. It's never really like any teacher I've ever had, it's always been an exemption. Like whether I'm saying exempt to say either you get to do it at a later date or they just be like, you're good. You're not getting a zero. But she was like, it's teacher discretion. She said she was on the board for it. So she was like, I'm actually one of the teachers that's on the board for it. And this is what we talked about or whatever. And so, and keep in mind, this is in front of the class. So me and the teacher talking in front of the class. And something that this is what made me hot because she was like, well, I would have thought that if you really cared about like your academics, your studies, that you would want to get your work done. And I was like, what? Well, now what you're talking about is like contradictory because obviously I care about my studies and my academics if I got one of these tickets because only people that's really on the grind supposedly is getting these tickets. She sent me to the office, you know? So, or first she sent me outside of the class, and I'm outside of the class. Then she come outside of the class. She go to the office. I went to the office. So now I'm in the office. I'm waiting for the dean. My dean wasn't there. They had this new dean. So the new dean come up and she's like, "Why are you here?" I told her, and she was like, "Oh yeah, the teacher's right." And I'm like, "How?" And she's like, "You know, like think about it like this." And I might not be saying the whole scenario right. It's been a long time, but she was like, "Think about if you had work and your boss said you have the day off tomorrow, but you got to get this work done. Like I still expect all this work to be done now." Now, of course, now that we have like work from home and all this other stuff, like that seems easy. But that kind of doesn't make sense to me because why would you have me do all this work on the if you're giving me the day off? Like why that doesn't make sense to me or whatever. And I'm saying like if I'm a good enough worker to be able to get the day off, why would you need me to do the work on the day off. I could have did the work when I was actually at work. And she was like, "Well, if I go to your football coach and ask him what's more important, school," because I was like, she was asking like, "Why can't you do it or whatever?" And I was like, "I have football practice. I have like things to do. I have a job, all this or whatever." Because she's like, "Why can't you get it done tonight and have it done for the morning?" I was like, "I have all these things to do or whatever." And she was like, "Well, if I go to your football coach and ask what's more important, school or football, what he gonna say?" I said, "He finna say football. Stop playing." Like, I'm like, "You want to go ask him?" So, long story short, the teacher that sent me to the office, she called my mom and she was saying, like, he's being argumentative, he's being defiant, he doesn't want to do this project or whatever. I already told him this or whatever. And I remember my mom, she got on my bumper because she was always on my bumper about school. She's like, "What you mean you don't want to do this or whatever?" I'm like, "Ma, when have you ever heard of a time of me like being like, no, I'm not finna do no work? I don't never had no problem doing no work." I'm like, "I literally am not about to do this project when I got one of these tickets that signifies that I'm doing good in school, that I'm doing the work, that I am a good student, that I am doing what I need to do." That doesn't make any sense to me. I don't care if it's one teacher saying like, "Oh, well, it's my discretion" or whatever. I was prepared to take the zero because I wasn't finna sit up there and do this thing, and I got this ticket when I worked way too hard in school anyway. So she talked to my auntie. My auntie talked to her and she was like, "You know what? You're right. Like, that makes sense or whatever." And so she talked to the teacher. She called her back and she was like, "Yeah, he not going to be able to do the project." And that was the end of that. And I ain't get no zero. So that was a time where I had to hold him because it's like, y'all not finna play with me on this school stuff. Like, I know what I do in school. I wasn't a straight A student, but I was up there. I'm top 25% in the class. Like, stop playing with me. Like, I put in work and I know what that means. So I'm gonna stand on that. So something I would want to ask you guys is, when was a time where you had to go against the grain and you had to stick up for something that you knew to be right or something that you knew wasn't right?
Okay. Well, for starters, for me, I'll answer like the question altogether, and also like what you just said. Uh, I would say the best time for me when I would fold them is if the consequences outweigh me being right. So if me trying to be right means that I'm about to lose out on this, or this could go this way, I'm probably just gonna go ahead and do whatever that I was told or whatever I've learned over the years. I'm not really so focused on being right because the consequences of being wrong are so huge that it's not even worth it. But I guess a time that I would hold them is if I clearly know I'm right, and the consequences of me being more right because I know I'm right. So it's like there's not really there's not no consequence because I know what it is. I know what time it is. Once I'm right, bro, I'm gonna let you know I'm right. So I can give a scenario at my last job. It's just a marketing lady, bro. She was just losing her whole head, bro. And I was letting it go, you know what I'm saying? Like, because to me, I like to weigh a lot of things. I was like, if I say something, what do I really get out of saying something? Yeah, I would be defending myself, but is this even worth me digging deep into something like an argument happening or this happening or this happening? So like it's a couple of memes where she said something to me or said something about my work, and I'm like, she wrong, but it's not even worth me saying anything. But it was this very last time where I really felt like it was worth it because she was taking it too far. She was stretching things too far. So she's basically telling me that. So I was working on this website. For people who don't know, I'm a developer, a front end developer. So I was working on this website or whatever, and she kept saying that like the way I was doing my code was wrong, and it was having this type of effect, and it was having this type of effect. But I'm like, look, everything that I'm doing is what you told me to do. First of all, because I wouldn't even design it this way. You told me to do it this way because this would help with marketing. And clearly it does not. And I stated that it does not help with marketing. Actually, now that we're in the meeting, like this is at the point where once I lose my top, I can't lie, especially professionally. Once I lose it, I lose it. But I don't ever like lose it to the point where I don't know what I'm talking about or I don't have any proof. So I know there's going to be a breaking point for me. And I had that breaking point. And I had proof for everybody in that meeting. I was literally walking around like, you see here where I say that you shouldn't do it this way, but you tell me to go ahead and do it, and now you're calling me out in the meeting. I was like, I just find that's really funny, and that's really ridiculous because you don't know what you're talking about. You're not even that good at your job. I'm actually good at my job. Like, I know that for sure. People tell me every single day. It's consequences for you every single day because you don't do good. So for you to tell me that I don't know what I'm doing and I don't know how to handle my own business, you got me messed up. I felt like that was a time where I had to hold them bad boys, because if you don't in a moment like that, and you continuously let someone question your work ethic, question your character, question everything you work hard for, the consequences are definitely bigger on the other side. Because if you don't let people know you right sometimes, bro, consequences are huge. Now people think that I don't know how to do my job. Now people thinking they could just walk over me. Now people thinking that they're better than me at this and they're better than me at that. So that's a hold 'em moment. But I guess another scenario would be where I would fold them is if, let's say, my manager wanted me to do something. I thought my way was way better, but he wanted me to do it this way because it's traditional way. I'm not about to argue with no man and say, look, I'm going to do it my way and not your way. And the reason why I'm not going to do that because the consequences might be huge if I'm wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, it might be night and day difference if I'm wrong, especially if I know there's a better way. It's okay that I don't do it that better way, that I do it the traditional way, because I know with that better way, there might be things that I didn't consider, things that I didn't think about that he might have thought of with the traditional way. So I'm just going to stick to that way, even though I feel like my way is better. So I guess that would be kind of the best way to answer that question.
So basically, it's the consequences.
Yes.
Okay. What about you, Jay Allen?
Man, so for me, it's a little bit different. Like, I ask myself two things. After I choose to not be a participant in this person's desires, can I still be myself? And is it being myself in doing so, or am I just being argumentative? And then I guess that's two things there. But the third thing I say will be important to me is also, can I do without him or without it? First off, if I can do without him or without it, we're not even having a conversation. I'm gonna say no and I'm walk away and go do what I gotta do. I've done it plenty of times. I've done it in times where people thought I was crazy, with great paying jobs. And yeah, I don't really like how that vibe is. And this will be the last 2 weeks I'll spend with you. Thank you. And they'll understand it. But for me, and having a hustler mentality, I know what I can do. And I always believe in myself. I believe in God. I wouldn't put myself in no dummy mission where, like, I feel like I'm putting all soul faith in God, because God giving me the ability to provide for myself. He's not doing the work for me. He just provides me with the ability. But if I know I have the ability to make things happen without these people, I don't feel any ties to have to fold to their needs all the time. I'm gonna hold my cards. Um, and if I feel like I cannot be myself, that's one thing. I always have to be authentically me. And even if I need someone or something, what could happen is you may not get me to necessarily hold them that day, but you just put it in my mind a new motive that, okay, so now the new motive is I need to put myself in a situation where I no longer need you because you don't
Yep.
fit my purpose. And I obviously don't fit yours if we came to a disagreement where I have to fold against my morals to sustain the lifestyle that I have. So now it's a new motive. So you killed our relationship in 6 months. And that happens not even just with jobs or organizations or sponsorships or in the field of bodybuilding for me, but sometimes with people. I may be talking to somebody, people I grew up with that we was friends, but then I realized we were friends over things that no longer apply to me. We don't play sports anymore. We don't be on the block no more. We ain't at the park. We ain't chasing girls. We're not doing that no more. We ain't chasing anything. Um, I ain't even chasing the bag. I'm earning it. You chase a bag, it's a rat race because you'll chase any bag. And so to me, I'm like, I feel like those people show you every day, like, yeah, it's not gonna last long. And when the time comes, I'm gonna be um extra sure in my decision on making sure I hold my cards because I know my hand good. I don't know
I
about
know my
yours. My
hand
hand
good.
good, so I'm hold this.
Right.
So
I used to think that I
it
was the
is what it
cockiest dude
is.
on Discussion with the Friend podcast, but it's been given to Jay Allen for sure. This man got me beat by a long shot.
Hey, maybe.
And
Hey, I'm
cocky's
just
not the
saying,
right
and
word.
if and
Confident,
the
but you
thing
get
is, but the thing is that I find beautiful about thinking about that. My experience is that like if I'm wrong, I'm gonna learn something from it and take something from it that's gonna propel me so much further in life than if I'm just folding every time. I'm not learning shit. I'm just learning what to do when I'm told. You're not really learning anything. And some things you gotta stand on and figure out. As a man, it's been plenty of times I stood on something and I've been dead wrong. And I had to find out when the after effect happened that I'm in a situation where I'm like, okay, how did I get here? This isn't a desirable situation for me. I'm like, okay, I got here because of my actions and choices to decline this collaboration or this relationship or work with this person. And I learned from it. And I learned what about that person made them approach me the way they did and what were they trying to tell me in that time. Because sometimes you may have a situation happen like that where you hear something from a person that rubs you the wrong way, so you hold them, and you might experience that situation again. I think if you start to experience that situation a few times, it ain't just that person, it's you. If it's happened a few times, and that honestly, I can speak honest on that. That's happened to me times in life, where I'm like, okay, this is about the fourth person that had told me this, and don't none of these people know each other. This may be me. Let me go back to the drawing board and see what. And I try to learn in that
Okay.
experience. So to me, I guess to sum it up, when to and when not to, I don't think there's a wrong or right answer as long as you're not so sold on one side. Does
Mm-hmm.
that make sense? You can't be sold on one side because even if you choose wrong, you'll learn the right answer for later. But if you feel like you always got to cater to people because you need people to like you, and you feel like you need people for your success solely, you're gonna lose because you easily manipulated. You can be manipulated by acceptance. I know people that's manipulated by money, and I know people getting money and they still not happy because they do anything for the money, and the
Yeah.
money temporary.
Oh
That's a whole
yeah.
nother discussion. That's a whole nother podcast. um, or you can just be that person that you feel like you so stubborn you can face the world by yourself. And I know I was raised by people like this, strong ass people, but they always hurting because they too strong. They don't need nobody. They don't need to listen to nobody. They don't need no help. They don't need no support. And it's like ain't nobody that strong in the goddamn world. I don't care who you are. I know for a fact it's three things I always need. I need God, I need my mom and my dad, and I need my niece. Dead serious. My niece, that's my best friend in
mine
the
too,
world. When I
bro.
look into her eyes,
Yeah.
I see future, man. I see that's my bloodline. This is everything that I go through. I can pass down. She gonna handle that so much better because she gonna have game. So I recognize what I need. And I go back to saying what we was recognizing things for what we need and getting through adversity earlier. So all this tie together. But I would say recognize what you need. You know when to fold them, when to
I
hold them,
got you.
when to
I
hold them.
got you. So
You know.
to answer my own question, I'm gonna take the caveat kind of answer. I always hold them because I feel like even if it even if it feels like I'm folding, that's only really a perception kind of thing because you might think I'm folding because I'm going along with what you say, but in reality, that's in my best interest. So it's not really me folding. So I'm gonna just say from experience, like I was always the person to be holding them because I truly believe that I was right. And go
Hold
ahead.
on. I don't want to stop you or anything like that. I just want to make sure I'm hearing this right. So you're saying you always think you right, and you gonna always tell people you right, and
I
like,
heard that too, but I was
yeah,
like,
that's
I'm
what
gonna let you
I just
explain.
want to make sure I'm hearing that clearly.
No, what I'm saying is in a situation like how you saying like with your job and the guy might come to you and be like, let's do it this way, or we're doing it this way, telling you we're doing it this way. And you might have another way in mind. You might have already told him, hey, I want to do this or whatever. And he said, no, we're still going to do that. It's not really folding if you go with his way, if that's in your best interest anyway. Because if it wasn't, then I would have to say something. I would have to not go with what you're doing is what I'm saying, because that's kind of how I view it now. Nothing is really a loss. Nothing is really a L unless you think about it like that. But that's why I'm kind of saying the person I used to be compared to the person I am now, it's about I really am the same person, but my mindset is different because certain things that I've viewed as a failure or as a loss, I don't view like that anymore. I don't really see failures. I don't really see losses because I'm able to learn from those things and I'm able to use that to my advantage. Um, so that's what I'm saying. Like I always hold them, and that's not me saying that I'm always right or I'm gonna always just go against the grain or whatever. But whatever I choose to do is always gonna be in my best interest because, like Jay is saying, like I know I got good cards. So even if I might fault, I'm gonna go along with what you say or I'm gonna not speak out or whatever. I'm doing that with the notion that I done already came to the conclusion that that's what's best for me and that's what I'm gonna do. So
That's pretty
I
much
don't really
that's
view it as folding.
that's pretty much what I said then about consequences then, because you'll fold it if you feel like it's necessary for you to do so and for your best
But it's
interest.
about your
But
perception. Because if you viewing it as folding, then you are folding. But if I don't view it as folding, then how am I folding?
that wasn't the question though. You said when to hold them or to
I
fold.
know that's
So
why I
I
said I'm
feel
gonna
like
take
we
the
had to.
caveat answer.
I was gonna say I feel like we had to choose, but
That's the
I
caveat
think
answer. That's me always holding them, and I don't view anything as an L, and I don't view anything as me taking an L.
I'll be viewing myself as taking a lot of L's. I ain't gonna lie. If we want to get into it, I mean, we're an hour and 30 minutes in, so I'll just say real quick. I view myself as taking some L's. I ain't gonna hold you. Like I wish I had the perspective that you had, but when I take L's, I think I think about it similar to you. Like it's an L, but it's not really a L. But sometimes it just do be a L. I can't even hold you. Like it's been situations where things happen where I'm like, dang, I messed up there. There ain't nothing I could do to come back from there. But yeah, bro, I just want to say, you got a different way of viewing
I
stuff.
don't view
That
it.
hold'em thing,
I don't view it like
okay.
that anymore because I'm at the point now. I've taken so many L's. I've been through so much failure that if I choose to view it like that, then that's gonna negatively affect me. That's not gonna allow me to get to where I want to be. So like, and I view it as, and now it's like I have more of a grasp of what life is. So I realize that there's going to be a lot of times where I come across situations that aren't the most advantageous. They aren't the most favorable for me. So it's not really a L, it's more so just living because if I know I'm doing the most that I can do or whatever and I'm putting my best foot forward, even if I'm not,
That's still a
it's
L
gonna
though.
I mean it's a
But
L if you view it
you
like that
phrasing
though.
it you phrasing it different. It's still a
I
L, but I see what you.
I
I
be
definitely
saying,
get what you're saying because I say that.
yeah, like he the but it's even different. Like the way he processes it is like he's willing to do what he wants at all times because he's willing to deal with
That's
the
what it is.
consequence. Which I can respect that. That's different for me. Like I feel like if I'm in a situation where I need you, well, hey, until I don't, we gonna throw this shit out. I just hey, it is what it is. We can do what I want to do later.
See,
Cause if what I'm doing is such an advantage to me, we gonna work together. But if I don't need you, you gonna know
see, if
immediately.
like
Like so, hey, I respect it in all
I hear
ways.
that, but I think you gotta fold sometimes and let people set themselves up for that failure, so you can show them your card real quick. Feel what I'm saying? Like, so for example, at my job, I was telling my manager, "Yo, let's switch over to Microsoft Teams. It's included in our
I
plan.
love
Blah blah blah.
teams.
This it saves the company $6,000 a year." He no blah blah blah. They like Slack. Blah blah. This Slack 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 Slack. So I'm like, I folded.
Slack's
I
so burnt
folded
out.
on. You got it, bro.
Yeah.
Slack it is. So as time went by, teams started having all these other features, all this other stuff. They started needing to save money and they was cutting people, like firing people and things like that. You know what would be really good for our IT team, bro? If we brought this to them and told them let's move to teams, regardless of what they like, because it saves them $6,000 a year. Over a 10-year span, that's 60K. That's somebody's salary right there. I bet money if we go ahead and do that, they'll see that. He couldn't see that months ago. But now, once he saw that Microsoft Teams had this, Microsoft Teams had that, it was saving money, all these other things, me folding in that moment made him realize over time that you got to see it my way. Now you got to see this card. You got to take this card from me. And now I'm up. So I think sometimes you do got to fold to put people in their own trap.
But I don't really think that you folded because you still told them exactly what you should do. You still voiced your opinion and said whatever it is. Ultimately, you didn't have the power to make that decision. So
Could have jumped right over him.
how?
Could have went straight to the CEO and I could have went straight to the HR lady and said these same things.
But there's no guarantee that they would have done it.
But there's no guarantee that they wouldn't have either. But I decided to fold and accept it for what it was to see what happened.
But I kind of view that as you viewing that as, I'm saying you viewing it as folding because you stopped there. If it was something, and I'm not saying this, I'm just for my logic. If it was something that you was very strongly about and you really truly believed that it was right, you would have did all those things. And that's what I'm saying. I view it like if it's that's how I view everything. Because I know I don't act a certain reason for no reason. I know who I am. So whatever I do, whether I'm wrong or right, I'm willing to accept those consequences and stand by that because that's who I am. So whatever comes with that, then I'm willing to deal with that. There's going to be times where I'm going to go the extra mile and do all this stuff and it might not work out. But I can at least have solace in the fact that I didn't compromise who I was and I said everything I had to say. So if I'm exhausting all my possible, opportunities or whatever it is, the outcome is going to be the outcome regardless. It's I don't really necessarily have control of that.
Okay. That's very interesting. Especially coming from somebody that I would consider to be the most understanding person when it comes to perspectives. So to always feel like it's your way, I get it. That makes sense. Cause I mean, I know who you are. Like you doing this for YouTube, you letting them know who you are. I know who you are. So I know all of this already. But it is very interesting just to think about because you are one of those people. I think you understand perspectives and other people's view way more than me and Jay. Me and Jay kind of really locked in individuals. There's this way, it's this way, it's this way.
Yeah.
There's
I ain't gonna lie, that since like 2019, 2020, that's new to me.
But see,
like I'll
me.
I'm very old school.
Me being that kind of person, that's what enables me to be able to accept people's perspectives because I'm so in tune with myself. I feel like I know that even if I feel a certain way or I do a certain thing, I know I'm not perfect. So if somebody if you saying something to me and we're arguing or whatever, and I think something is right, you think something is right, we're at an impasse. I'm able to respect that because if I'm able to believe so much for myself that it's right, how can I not believe that you're right in your own right in your own way? So whatever happens coming from that, that's not something that I feel like I could change by folding or not folding because that's not gonna really I'm gonna have to compromise myself, which is something that I can't do. So I'm gonna have to,
You know what? I think we're gonna have to just
wrap
this bad boy up because I was about to say again,
sure. Hey.
like that doesn't seem to make sense to me because from that perspective, how would you be understanding of other people's perspective if you think that you're always right and your right is always?
But
I understand.
It's
let's
not
not even
about
get into
me
it, bro.
thinking I'm always right though.
Let's not even because we're gonna be going for hours because on this one in particular, I'm a little. So we just gonna have to.
Yeah. So I do want to mention something before we go. I should have popped these up earlier. So hey guys, every time we have a podcast, if there's a book that I read, especially currently, I'm going to make sure I drop it in the video. Maybe we could put the Amazon link to buy it on Amazon down in the description if you want to check it out. So a lot of the practices that I do, I get from the literature that I read. One thing is Uncommon Life by one of the greatest coaches ever. You guys know who this man is. If you don't, you need to do your research. Yes, absolutely. Great coach. you'll have newfound respect for them as you do your research. This is one of my favorite books on common life, just because there's daily challenges in here that keep you sharp. For those that don't have enough practice with the whiteboard to have those original ideas, this is a good book to just get your original idea, or your idea of motivation and what you want to execute on a day daily, given to you by a coach that's led many, many, many men to have successful careers within the NFL. So be sure to check that out. And then also one of my favorite books, Atomic Habits. It is what it sounds like. It's just talking about the discipline of forming small habits that make atomic big changes within your life. So check that out. We're gonna try to put the description in this video as well for this book. I haven't read a lot of the books that James Clear has written, but I know this piece is good. I can vouch for this. This is a great book you guys should check out. If you like anything that I said today, and you feel like you want some more depth of where I got that type of energy from this right here.
Okay, well, I didn't know we was doing book recommendations mid video, so I'll just give you one. I would say read the 12 Rules of Life, but I feel like I brought that up before on this podcast, so um, I'm gonna hold off on what I have. I'll give you a recommendation next week. There's a book I'm reading right now, but for some reason I cannot think of the name, and I'm not about to go get up and go grab it. So yeah, I will just talk about that next week. You got your book present and ready to go?
I actually do. I didn't know we were doing this either, but so I just started reading this. It's called Deep Work by Cal Newport, and it actually talks about rules for focused success in a distracted world. It's very, very, I feel like, instrumental for me, especially working from home, dealing with screens, and it just talks about like attention span and like being able to focus and actually get like quality work done, because a lot of people get caught up with multitasking, thinking that, oh, I'm getting so much work done, but it's talking about like the quality of that work being severely reduced because your brain is actually distracted. Like even if you're like working on something and you get an email or a inbox message or something, and you go right back to what you were doing, it's talking about like how that like severely reduces the quality of that work. I'm only about 2 chapters in, but thus far it's been very instrumental. It talks about a lot of people that are successful, as far as like Facebook CEOs and whatnot. So definitely think you guys should give it a read, and I will let you know how it goes.
Cool, cool. So y'all know how we end every episode. We end every episode with advice. Since I'm talking, I will go first. Uh this is from a book with Joel Osteen. I can never say his name, but he's a preacher. Basically, what he said is that a lot of people aren't happy in life because their container is either contaminated or it's just filled with hateful things. You can't go over 100% capacity. So if you don't allow your container to be emptied, every time you allow worry to go in, peace goes out. So just think about that with life and everything you're doing. Make sure you're either emptying your container or you're not allowing your container to be so filled and so contaminated with negativity and just bad things in life. So that's my advice I have for everybody out there today.
I hear you.
My piece of advice is gonna definitely be picking up all new programs that I release. Yes, I said it, all new programs. Link will be in description. Like this video and subscribe, 15% off. And use the discount code. You know what? Actually, we're gonna use the podcast name. I'm gonna go ahead and use the abbreviation for our discount code here. So let me get that for you guys. Make sure that's what I actually put for
I
it.
ain't
One
mad at
second,
you.
guys.
I ain't mad at you.
Yeah, we gotta help the people, man. We got to. We gotta hook them up if we can, for sure. My fault, y'all. I had it
Hey, if
right
y'all
here.
Nah,
y'all
we
watch
Y'all
this
good.
gonna get
far,
it. So, hey,
Yeah, if y'all
facts.
made it here, y'all know it,
DWAF.
it get a little iffy around these times.
hmm
So
Yeah. DWAF, 15% off. Like and subscribe to the channel. Especially we got more content coming, and if you guys like us early on and you give us feedback, we only can get better from here. So be sure to give us feedback in there. And if you like what I had to say today, I also do coaching calls with my training. So just like we're screen to screen right now, I do that with all of my clients. So let's speak, let's get some perspective, let's get sharp, and let's go through some mental training as well.
Yes, sir. I like that. My only advice would be don't be afraid to restart. Just for example, I had to restart today. I had been working on that song for a while, but it just wasn't sounding the way I wanted it to sound. And I felt like, this is our intro. This is DWAF revamped season 2. So I got to do the most that I possibly can. So I watched countless videos and I even scrapped the whole song and restarted it at one point because, I was that determined to get it to sound the way I wanted it to sound. So don't be afraid to restart in life. There's going to be times where you might need to just go back to the drawing board and scrap it and start over. Um, some people get really scared about that because, the unknown and or the fact that, oh, I put in all this work or whatever. But if all the work you put in was meaningless, or if it was not it didn't amount to what you wanted it to amount to, then you shouldn't be afraid of restarting if, you have the opportunity to get to where you want to be. So that's just my advice for
Agreed.
y'all.
Yeah, so that is the episode 1 of season 2. We appreciate all of y'all. Like Jay said, make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube channel. You like our Facebook page. You follow us on TikTok. If you're more interested in us individually, you can follow me on my social medias below. You can follow Jay on his social medias below and Rod on his social medias below. Well, you thank y'all and peace out.